Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Mythic Cliff, who is going to be the first ever Cliff to come to the game, I believe. I don't think there's been like a 2-star or 3-star, it could be like a 2-star Cliff that I don't know. This isn't Clifton, this is just Cliff. I know a lot of people do want to see a Mythic Clifton, but this is Cliff. He is going to be the next promo character. On the right hand side you can see his art, he looks pretty awesome. He kind of makes me, think of Barker, honestly, in terms of the get-up. But Barker's bald, and so there's the obvious differences. But I love the mask on in his face. He's fully geared up. The armor, it looks awesome, and I really like the look. He is a tough character, of course. He has not got a backpack, which is really odd, honestly. It kind of looks odd, the fact that he doesn't have a backpack. That is not the Scopely ways. If we look on the left-hand side, we can see the art in a bit more detail, and you can see it's very Splinter Cell style. If you played Splinter Cell, the game, it is very much the sort of visuals on that. He just needed the sort of triple-eyed mask. That would have been pretty cool. If you look at these stats here, as a level 640 limit broken character, limit broken 1 character, he has got 12,152 attack, 16,203 defense, and 16,653 HP. So he is very defensively balanced. He is a tough character, like we said before. He is considered a tank, which makes a lot of sense with those stats. Mythic character, of course, and he is a part of the Kingdom. And I believe he becomes the 4th member of the Kingdom. I think he's the 4th member, with Zachary, Ezekiel, and Shiva being the other 3. So first up, we will check out his Adrenaline Rush, and it is called Private Security. It is a 55 AP cost rush, so that would mean he does not need to have an AP on attack weapon on a defense team, which is most likely where he's going to be as a tank. This character gets 40% bonus HP, heals 40% of their max HP, and gets 40% defense for 2 turns. This character also recovers from infection, so basically he gets a good bit of everything that would keep him alive or take less damage. Just basically, like, the bonus HP would make him take less damage from actual hits. The defense would bring down the amount of damage those hits would do initially. The heals would just bring his HP back up. He would obviously be a bit susceptible to bleed and burn with this rush, in terms of, like, the bonus HP is going to do nothing for that. The defense is going to do nothing for that. But that's just something worth noting. Him recovering from infection is actually really powerful. There aren't too many characters that do that. And infection is very powerful against tanks. It is one of, you can have a character that's got, if you come up against characters on Conquest, I've come up against characters with 90,000 HP. 2-turn infection, as long as there isn't any heal over time weapons, or I've controlled certain, weapons and how they work, they're getting one shot. It's really, really easy to take down a tank like that. So this is going to be quite a quick rush. It will be a basic attack, signature move, rush. As long as his signature move is in the first 2 turns, he should get a natural turn 3 rush. Okay, so we are on the rush turn for Cliff. I'm nearly calling him Barker every time I see him. And I have got a character that does infection. So we are going to do the infection from Jesse Anderson here. And you'll see he's got 40% infection. We'll just hit defend on the other characters. It's just a one-man defense, just to show you how it works. And it's going to give himself all the good stuff. 40% of his actual HP, 40% bonus HP, 40% defense, and that infection is gone. So that's basically, he's like heavy self-sustain. He's going to get this off very regularly because he's got quite a fast rush on a defense team. He doesn't need as much AP to get that going. So very powerful. And infection is, like I say, one of the easiest ways to take down these heavy tanks. And his stat balance is so defensive that he's easily going to have some of the highest HP you're going to see on a defense team. Now, if we look at the upgrades on the rush, we can see that at grade 2, it gets an extra 20% healing. So initially, it's 20% of normal HP. At grade 4, it gets 20% bonus HP. Initially, it is 20% bonus HP. And then at grade 5, it gets 20% defense up. So all of the initial rush is 20% on all the percentages. And then they all go to 40% as long as you get him to grade 5. And I would say grade 5 is like kind of the minimum if you do want to use him to a high standard on a defense team. Just because he's going to lose out on a lot of stats. Even though he is very defensively balanced, he is still going to lose out on quite a lot of stats if he's only grade 4. 100 levels is a big difference. Now, Cliff does have a signature move, of course, and it is called Out the Back Door. It has got an initial cooldown of turn 2, so this is absolutely fine for his rush in terms of how it would work and getting a turn 3 natural rush. But the second time around, it'll be a bit slower. It is just worth noting. Number of uses is unlimited. Give one teammate elusive and heal by 40% of their max HP for 2 turns. Now, what's interesting about this is, you might have noticed in the previous clip, Cliff did have elusive, and he can potentially give elusive to himself. I'm not sure if the heal goes to himself or not. We can check that out, but I think it does. So if he's got the lowest HP, this should prioritize the person with the lowest HP. He could potentially give it to himself over a teammate. So what I'll do is I'll test it out with just him in the team and one other teammate, and we won't attack the other teammate, and see who it heals. So as you can see, I have focused Cliff here, and he is at half HP. Hopefully his signature move does actually work, and he does it on himself, but we'll see. I'll hit the defend action. He's going to do it on Erica, who I did not attack at all, and she's going to get the elusive. She doesn't get the 40% heal over time. Maybe that's an issue with the character at the moment. I will pass that on to Scopely, but it could potentially be because she's full HP, but she should be having a 40% heal right now. So if I did do attacks on her right now, then she'd heal this up with the second turn of that heal over time. So that definitely is an issue, but it doesn't look like he actually heals himself. Now, what we'll do is we'll try it out with just him in a team and see if he actually does his signature move in that case. Okay, so now he is the only character here, obviously. So if he's the last character alive, does he still do his signature move and give himself the elusive and give himself the heal? Let's have a little defend. He does give himself the signature move, but it is definitely the heal is not working. So that is not how it's meant to work. The character is meant to get healed, so that is something that I will pass on. But that is good news that he can actually do it to himself, which is what a lot of characters sometimes won't do, is give it to themselves. So that's actually nice. It doesn't seem like it prioritizes HP though, because we did see that when I did it before, I'd focused I'd focused Cliff a little bit already, and I brought his HP down, and it focused giving the elusive to Erica over him. So that is a downside for sure. And maybe if it gets fixed, maybe it's because the HP is not part of the signature move right now, the prioritization might change. So we can see the upgrades on the signature move, and you can see at grade 3 it gets an extra 10% healing, and then at limit break it gets another 10% healing as well. So it would initially be at 20% or 30% without limit breaking this character. I actually think this is a reasonable signature move, because you're basically going to be healing up and giving elusive to a character who's been focused, and they will no longer give AP. The downside, it is turn 2, so a lot of teams will already have their rushes in that situation. If it was turn 1, that would be a lot better, obviously, because basically what would happen is the first attacks will come in, you'd focus someone down, they'd heal up 40% because of this, and they'd have elusive, so you couldn't focus them again. You know, and that would be the turn you're still trying to gain AP for those rushes. So I think it's reasonable, but it could definitely have been a little bit more powerful. Okay, so this is Cliff's Mythic Abilities, and I'm pretty sure I've called him Barker multiple times in this video. I'm not going to edit them out, guys, so do tell me if I do it, because I just said this is Barker's Mythic Abilities. Even though it says Cliff on the screen, I can't get out of my head. These are his passives. He is a tank, so he's going to get strength, so he can get up to 40% critical hit resistance. This will be strength 1 and strength 2, and then deterrent. When performing the bodyguard specialist skill, spoiler alert, one enemy gets minus 30% attack for 2 turns. Form up when this character starts their turn, 40% chance to recover from defense down. So he could potentially recover for something where he's going to be more susceptible to damage. That's actually pretty good. Next, he has got last, he has got protection. When performing the bodyguard specialist skill, this character gets bonus HP. This is going to be interesting, because will the bonus HP come in as he performs the specialist skill and then takes the damage? Or will he take the damage and then it comes in afterwards? Because it depends on, you know, the order that things happen here. We'll have to check it out and see if the bonus HP comes in before he takes the damage. Okay, so we have got Cliff in a team with an Aiko who is not defensive. She should take quite a bit of damage. I have got a first turn signature move just to be sure that I do enough damage. So we're going to do the signature move. And you can see that the damage I did to Aiko went to Barker, but the bonus HP came in afterwards. That is a little bit of a disappointment, honestly, because he can only bodyguard once per turn. So it isn't too ridiculous that he's getting the bonus HP. But it would mean that, I guess, the next turn, the bonus HP would be, you know, absorb some of the damage that he's going to take. But that's the order that things happen. The damage is done to the character that you select. The bodyguard activates. You do the damage that you would do to the character you're selected to the bodyguard character, then the bonus HP comes in afterwards. It is quite a lot of bonus HP. Obviously, the more bonus HP you have, the more powerful it is, because it's percentage based. As we all know, percentage based is the most OP thing, because it scales just so massively. If he's got 100,000 max HP, he's going to be doing 30,000 bonus HP. So yeah, very powerful indeed. Now we can check out the upgrades for the passives, and you can see Deterrent is a 15 required military supplies upgrade at grade 1. Strength is at grade 2 with 20 upgrades. Grade 3 is Form Up with 20 upgrades. And then Deterrent 2 is another 15 on top at grade 4. At grade 5 we have Protection at 15 upgrades. And then Limit Broken 1 we have Strength 2, which is another 20 upgrades. So those are all the required upgrades to get Cliff his passives, and a lot of his power is within his passives, honestly. So you do need to max out most of, if not all of his passive skills to get the best out of Cliff here. Now his specialist skill is bodyguard. We have seen this, it is part of his passives. I do like when the passives link in with the specialist, or link in with how parts of the rush or signature move work. It is much more, it's just much more enjoyable. It seems like the character's more well-rounded that way, and that's basically how it works here. The bodyguard, the first time each turn that an allied teammate takes 30% of their max HP from a single attack, rush, active, or signature skill, this character will take that damage instead. Damage transferred this way is reduced by 50%. That's why you probably noticed that the damage that he was taking was quite low from a signature move from Dwight. It was only like 3k. It's because it was halved. And this is where a lot of the power of bodyguard comes in. It reduces the damage for one, but also it keeps certain characters from being so heavily focused on a defense team. Now, this is only as powerful as your weakest character. If you have a 1-star in your defense team, let's say, and I do a basic attack against it and one-shot them, but now Cliff will absorb that damage, I would be doing like 200,000 damage to a 1-star. He's not going to be able to absorb, 100,000 damage. Whereas if you've got a full tank squad, I mean like the tankiest team, you've got 60k defense, 60k HP on every single character, he is going to take no damage regardless of who you do that massive rush against, regardless of who you do that massive signature move against. Now, it doesn't work against bleed or burn, so damage over time does not get absorbed by bodyguard at all. It is only against what it says. Single attack, which is like a basic attack, the actual rush itself, so if someone's got a triple hit rush, it will just select one of those characters, probably the one that you're selecting over the other characters, and then active or signature skill. So if any of those do 30% of the character's HP in damage, Cliff here will take that damage instead, and like it says, reduce it by 50%. Now, where this can be powerful, of course, is on defense teams. Like I said, a full tanked out squad, but this can also be powerful on attack teams. You might have seen me use Bodyguard Kelly, the silver character, for quite a while, because he is very good at protecting characters against those heavy hitting damage dealers on defense teams, which you see quite often. You see the odd damage dealer, you see the odd Sandy, you see the odd Andrea. These sort of characters pop up from time to time, and these will keep your damage dealers alive, especially if you've got a very glass cannon style team where you're just putting a lot of attack into certain characters. And what should happen on this turn when I defend with Harper is, actually I won't defend with Harper, I'll do a basic attack so she doesn't have a defense bonus, but she should get signature move by Carol here, and it should be Cliff who takes the damage. Now, he will take a big hit because Harper is not really defensively geared at all. She is an offensive character. But we'll see what happens. Here comes the signature move, and you can see he took the damage, and Harper is right as range. He's got taken no damage at all, and that is what is great about a specialist that is bodyguard. Whether it be on defense or attack, they're very usable on both. It isn't terrible to use him on an attack team, but he's definitely going to be beast mode on a defense team. But like I said, it is going to be as powerful as your weakest character. This is what you've always got to remember with bodyguard. He's as powerful as your weakest character. If your weakest character is an Andrea who's got huge amounts of attack and you gear her with like rampage weapon and stuff, yeah, he will protect her for one big hit, but he'll most likely get destroyed with that because she's going to take such a massive hit. So you just got to be aware of that when you do put him into a team. He will be very, like I said, surrounded by tanks. He'll be nasty. Now he has got an attached weapon, and it's Cliff's sturdy assault rifle. It has got 30% HP base, a medium bonus to AP when taking damage, attack down when being attacked, a better chance to cause minus 45% attack for 3 turns to the enemy. So it's got a reasonable stat off the start. 30% HP on tough weapons is actually not super easy to come by. I think majority of people will have the odd one. There's like Carl shotgun, and I think there's a Mackenzie one, and there's maybe a sniper rifle that is hunters, but they're not like the most common weapons that you can get. So upgrading from the base, because it has got a 30% stat, is absolutely fine. Or you could just instantly 5-star it and put a weapon that you've got ready. Obviously, it does start off as a 4-star weapon. I had to 5-star it myself to be able to give him, weapons just to show you how much damage you can take, basically. And I would, generally speaking, just go for very, very defensive weapons that don't have any sort of AP on attack. So a weapon like this would just fit perfectly in his hands. You'd probably want to balance it more for HP, because that is what he's going to be, absorbing, is a lot of damage from his HP. His defense does nothing when it comes to how his bodyguard works, but you do want to give him reasonable defense just so he himself cannot be destroyed and focused. And that is one of the best ways to deal with bodyguards, is to actually focus them themselves and take them out as quickly as possible. But if he has got elusive impair, that's good. And what could be good as well is the 4-slot being from like the recent battle pass weapon was Razzo's weapon, because if he does get focused, you're going to be hitting those crits, and it can potentially control your signature moves. So that is actually a pretty good weapon as well. He doesn't necessarily need tough HP. So this is Mythic Cliff, and I think as a character, he's pretty decent. He's not like spectacular. He's not going to be absolutely game-breaking. However, if you put him in a team with characters that are really, really powerful, it makes those characters better. It makes him better as well, but just because he's more useful. He's only as useful as the characters that are around him. If you put a trash team around him, he's not going to really be that useful. If you put a absolutely tanky, monstrous team around him, he's going to be unbelievably annoying to deal with, because you have to get hit through him first, and you can tank him out so heavily. He's like a secondary shield. You could have him and you could have Uncle Sam on the same team, and they'd both be basically like protecting their team, just in very different ways. So I can see these tough characters potentially being very, very annoying. Full rainbow teams at the moment, and this is something I keep complaining about. We don't know what we're dealing with on defense teams, so hopefully in the future there are going to be some trait leaders maybe come out to make it a little bit more obvious what traits are going to be on that team. But we'll have to wait and see. But I think Cliff fits fine into the game. I don't have any problems with him personally. However, if you do, let me know down in the comments, what do you think about this character? How are you going to deal with him on defense teams? What sort of weapon would you put in his hands? Would you put the Daze weapon in his hands, or would you go for bonus HP? I think the Daze weapon is pretty much the way to go. Like I said, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. That is the end of my video. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.